edition of the Huddle. Your UCO Broncos host Northwest Missouri State and look to remain undefeated on the season. We also have our final Edlin game of the year between Edmond Memorial playing host to Edmond Santa Fe. We also have an exclusive interview with defensive end for UCO, Adrian Mack. All that and much more in this edition of the Huddle.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of The Huddle. I'm Austin Littrell, your guest host for the day, filling in for Demetrius Wright, who is under the weather. With me, I got my sports editor from the Vista, Rick Lemon. Rick, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Austin. How are you doing today?
Good to be here. Also with me is former UCO quarterback Dylan Swartz. Dylan, how are you doing today?
Great, Austin. Great. Glad to have you on the show with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here hosting. Today we talk about the football action from this past week, including a big showdown between North and Mustang, plus the final installment of Edlin for the year with Memorial trying to win back-to-back city championships. Plus, an interview with UCO defensive lineman Adrian Mack coming up later in the show. First up, though, the 3-0 UCO Broncos look to remain undefeated against the #1 team in the country. Dylan, what you got?
Well, UCO would definitely have to bring their A game in this one. Northwest Missouri is the standard for Division II football, and they have been for a long time. They're on a 19-game winning streak dating back all the way to last season. And not to mention, they've hung 70 points on UCO the last 2 years, including scores of 72-10 last season and 70-7 the year before. So they definitely would have their hands full this Saturday.
The Broncos had great fan support on Saturday as they took on Northwest Missouri. The Broncos were devastated by injury in this one, but looked to remain undefeated. Backup quarterback T.J. Eckert would get them rolling down the field in the first drive of the game to have that drive get stalled, and eventually which led to the Broncos striking first with a Seth Hiddink field goal. It didn't take long for the national champs to respond as they throw a fade to the right corner of the end zone to get them back on top and give them a touchdown lead going into the half. The Broncos offense would struggle bad coming out into the second half as they had 5 of their first drives of the second half not even make it past the 50-yard line. There you see backup quarterback T.J. Eckert getting coached up there on the sideline. Northwest Missouri would go on and run away with this one, literally, proving why they're the #1 team in the nation. The Broncos weren't done yet as they tacked on a late fourth quarter touchdown, T.J. Eckert's pass to wide receiver Josh Crockett, but it would be too little too late for this one in the Broncos as they would suffer their first loss of the season to Northwest Missouri State.
And there you have it, guys. I mean, there was the game Saturday. UCO suffered their first loss on the season. Kind of rough. They were banged up on the offensive side of the ball. They had 4 of their biggest offensive contributors out, including Chaz Stoller, Jake Gandra, Marquez Clark, and their most experienced offensive lineman in Mason McLaughlin. So with that, the offense seemed to struggle moving the ball a lot. I thought the defense played phenomenal considering how much they were on the field, in my opinion. They just got tired towards the end, and you can only contain a team like Northwest Missouri for so long.
Yeah, I really enjoyed how the defense played. I was proud of their effort. They were on the field for 94 plays. That's a lot.
That's unbelievable.
And then again, you're not going to beat a team of that caliber with 3 of your stars out.
Yeah, I think they played fantastic, like you're saying, 4 of the biggest weapons out on offense, and that seemed to really inhibit how they were able to move the ball down the field. I think they played well, and they played well, especially all the way through the third quarter. It just, honestly, talent and Northwest Missouri's depth chart started to show.
I think once they get some of those guys healthy on offense, I think they're going to continue to get the wins back rolling again. They'll be all right, I think, in my opinion.
And so we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with some more football talk for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Coming up after the break, we give you our predictions for next week's upcoming game.
Kinda new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Like I did with you, except...
Acceptable? Yes, now there are more items you can place in your Edmund recycling bin, like newspapers, magazines, phone books, and junk mail. Edmund recycles. It's what we do. Changing your view is what we want to do.
Plenty of room to swing a rope. Plenty of heart and plenty of hope. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain,
and the waving wheat
can sure smell sweet.
Where the wind comes sweeping on the rain.
Oklahoma, every night, my honey lemon eye.
Sit alone and talk
And watch a hawk making crazy circles in the sky.
You know we belong to the land, and the land we belong to is red.
We're only saying
You're doing fine, Oklahoma. Oklahoma! O-K-L-A-H-O-M-A, Oklahoma. Okay!
Oklahoma, come see for yourself.
Welcome back to the Huddle. Right now, we had a big Edlem game last week. Memorial trying to win back-to-back city champs. Rick, how'd it go?
Well, it was a great game. It was a really, honestly, a running back battle back and forth through most of the game. Great plays, huge plays. I mean, I think there was over 5 different plays that are over 50 yards. It was explosive. It was fun to watch, and we've got the highlights coming up right here.
Friday night football action with Memorial and Santa Fe playing. Memorial trying to bounce back after a big loss to Mustang. Santa Fe trying to spoil Memorial's chances of back-to-back city championships. First quarter action, Santa Fe relying on their workhorse, Darren Williams, who breaks some tackles and then just puts on the jets to run past the Memorial defense. Memorial has a pretty good running back too in Warren Wand, who watched too much NFL action this weekend, decided to be like Marshawn Lynch and run over a kid all the way into the end zone. Juan does more than just run the ball for the Bulldogs, though. They line him up in the slot, he catches the pass, makes some kids miss, then just turns into a complete track meet, running past all the Wolves secondary, all the way into the end zone, and we've got ourselves a ball game. After the running backs making all these plays, the quarterbacks seem to get a little bit jealous. Keaton Torrey making a score of his own with his hands, and then Mick Mayarski using his legs to make a play. He can do more than just run the ball. He makes some defenders miss and runs all the way into the end zone. When you really boil it down, though, this was an absolute duel between 2 great running backs, Darren Williams and Warren Wand. Williams with a huge score right here, running past the entire defense, almost gets caught, but ends up going in for the touchdown. With the game so close, somebody's going to have to step up and make a play.
Count on me, baby!
With 3.5 minutes left in the game, Juan decided to go off on a tear, scoring 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving to seal the game for the Bulldogs. He absolutely put the team on his back this one and earned MVP honors. We talked to him after the game, and this is what he had to say.
We had a great practice this week, and we just came out here ready to fight, and that's what we did all night. Our defense fought, our offense fought, and we never gave up.
Guys, you know I'm loving this. My alma mater coming and winning back-to-back city champs. Their offense finally seemed to pick up and show what they really had to prove. What did you think of the game, Dylan?
Well, I thought they needed to bounce back off getting beat by Mustang last week pretty bad. And like you said, they were looking for that sweep of the Edlem series. So, of course, they wanted to play big in this one. Warren Ward had a coming-out party with this one, 294 yards rushing. Morersky made plays when they needed him to, like he normally does. And that defense started to look like the Bulldogs that we know them to be. So, overall, huge win for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, if they can get the offense and the defense together, this team could be pretty special.
And I'll tell you what kind of a weapon is Warren Wand? He's got, just this game alone, 3 rushing and 2 receiving touchdowns. He can do it with almost anything.
This was a special game, both-wise, because his running backs going back and forth, like you said. It's one of the best, probably the best Edlem game this season.
Well, like you guys mentioned, Warren Wand is actually, he's committed to Arkansas State to play Division I football. So, I mean, the kid is obviously loaded with talent. I mean, just an overall impressive game, and just he's really putting together a great season so far.
So next up we had Mustang taking on Edmond North. Edmond North competed for a little bit, but they kind of just got worn down in the second half. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, injuries seemed to take over for this game. North really played really strong against a Mustang team that we saw last week hang 57 points on Memorial's defense. So I think that they played really well considering just how depleted they really were. And I think they did well.
You said it, Rick. The struggling Huskies are definitely going to have their hands full
North
with.
Huskies versus Mustang Broncos. Last time we saw North, they were on the road in Stillwater. Last time we saw Mustang, they were here at Wanland Stadium playing Memorial. First quarter action, Noah Toes fakes the handoff and then passes it back to the running back, Richard McCauley, who runs down the field, makes a defender miss, and runs all the way to the end zone for the first score of the game, 7-0. Later on in the first quarter, Mustang gives it to Chase Brown, who gives a great stiff arm and keeps on running all the way up the field, making defenders miss, and a big dive to make it 7-7. Second quarter in this defensive battle, still the same score because the team kept on trading punts back and forth. Mustang tries to return this one, but oh no, there's a fumble. North ends up grabbing it in the end zone. The players are all fired up. Touchdown's official, and North is up 14-7. Players are all hyped up. The fans are all hyped up. North is in the game. Considering just how impressive Mustang looked last week, beating up on Memorial stout defense, you know the fans are loving this. Mustang started to look like their old dominant selves in the second half, however, with the offense throwing accurate passes, including this one to David Parker over the middle, and this one right here across the middle again to Bobby Brown. The Huskies kept on trying to fight tough, but unfortunately injuries started to show in their depth chart. They were just decimated this game. Their starting quarterback was already out for the year, and skill players just seemed to keep on dropping like flies, including this punt return by Dylan Dorn. He got muffed, and unfortunately he ends up on the ground. That's their third-string wide receiver. After the game, head coach Scott Berger had some words to say about those injuries to his team.
Just kind of feel snake bit. Ever since the first game, we seem to be losing 2 or 3 kids a game. Told them over there, I said they play hard. I can't be more proud of them. I said we got to have kids step up. Sophomores have got in the game. I told them you're not sophomores anymore. You're juniors. Juniors have got in the game. You're not juniors, you're seniors. And we got to have people step up and help, and they did the best they could. The effort was there. I was proud of them.
Mustang ends up winning this one 34-20.
Dylan, like you were saying, right before we went to the highlights, North really needed to play one of its best games of the season to compete, and I think they did a fairly well job. What did you think?
To me, this was the most surprising game of the week. I mean, they hung with Mustang better than Memorial did, in my opinion, and just overall, it just wasn't enough. And they're still 1-3 on the season, but at least they're making strides in the right direction.
And you got to feel bad for them with all the injuries they've had. Stephen McClernand, their starting quarterback, out for the season. You saw more there in that package. It's just piling up for them. It's coming hard.
It really is. Injuries will devastate any team.
Yeah.
And it's just really unfortunate for the Huskies.
Honestly, I think, though, that they have a defense that, even with these injuries, if they can find some sort of consistency on their offense, they should be able to put up a few wins and maybe do better in district play than what they have been showing.
Yeah, I think they got a chance this week, but we'll save that for later.
Yes, we will.
We got to get to commercial, so we'll be right back on the Huddle.
Coming up after the break, we break down the high school games from this last week, including an Edlem game that was one for the ages.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
I guess, so Rick, you had your biggest hits of the week. Can you just,
Yeah,
what were your favorite hits this week?
We went back and we went through all the footage and found the biggest hits of the week. Some were sacks, some were just big hits on a running back. Maybe a couple offensive players got in there too. We got a top 10 this week, and it's coming up right now.
Number 10 on Hit 6 this week, we go back to the UCO game, and Nick Koenig with a huge sack on the goal line to push Northwest Missouri back. Number 9, we've got a pass out to wide receiver Mitchell Perkinson, who gets laid out on the sideline. Number 8, we go back to UCO in Northwest Missouri with the big goal line stand by the defense. Number 7, the very next play, Northwest Missouri tries it again, and Matt Pruitt coming up with a big stop right there, back on the goal line. Number 6, this is usually defensive hits, but Warren Wand went beast mode on everybody, decides to lay the lumber right there. Number 5, we go back to UCO Northwest Missouri. Northwest Missouri calling out the play, big run, but a big stop by UCO's defense. Number 4, we've got a big pass right here, screen pass out to Jeremy Cox, who goes and decides to rumble and bumble and run over a bunch of Memorial defenders. Number 3, UCO again, direct snap, but it goes nowhere with Antonio Guy and Malcolm Howard taking him out. Number 2, Keaton Torrey making his second appearance here on Hit Sticks, laying a big stiff arm and laying a shoulder into a defender. And then finally, number 1, top hit of the week. Mustangs wide receiver makes some people miss and keeps running down the sideline, thinks he's about to get to the end zone. Then Jacoby Long comes out of nowhere in the secondary and just lays him out there on the sideline. And that's your top hits for this week.
Top 10 hits of the week. You know how I picked them, but what were some of your favorites?
I tell you what, my favorite was that big fullback just running, trucking over the dude. That, some hard, old school, hard-nosed football right there.
My personal favorite, maybe a little biased, quarterback, Keaton Torrey lowered the shoulder and blew that guy up. So, I mean, it's my personal favorite.
That's a couple.
That's his second time on so far.
Yeah, he's a hard runner, that's for sure.
So next up, we have Dylan. You gave your favorite dimes from the quarterback this week.
Yes,
What'd you see?
Yes, I did. Well, the quarterbacks are in mid-season form now, and it's definitely starting to show in some of these dimes. So let's check them out and let you see for yourself.
First up on Dylan's dimes, Mustang quarterback Chandler Garrett out to the right side to his receiver. Next is TJ Eckert hitting Christian Hood dead in the numbers. Here's Chandler Garrett again, dropping back and throwing a rope to the left side, complete for the touchdown. A couple more by quarterback TJ Eckert. First here, a throw to the right side, great pass. And then here on the fade ball to wide receiver Josh Crockett for the touchdown. This touchdown was the only one made by the Broncos on Saturday as they fell short to Northwest Missouri State. Eckert again looking to the right side, throwing a perfectly thrown ball to Josh Crockett. And there are your Dylan dimes of the week.
Well, there you have it. There were some of the dimes from this last week's games. What did you guys think on it?
Well, I loved it, and especially the ones from TJ Eckert. Him coming in as the backup quarterback and making those kind of throws with that kind of precision shows that he was really ready to play on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though they didn't get the win, like you said, Rick, I thought TJ Eckert threw some great balls. I mean, he really showed a lot of leadership. I mean, hard to put that game on one guy, but I thought he took control of the reins, and with Stollard being out, he's going to start seeing some significantly more playing time. And with that being said, I think he'll get better from week to week and progress further.
I also have to go with the TJ Eckert passes. That touchdown pass was beautiful, and he had that one-arm catch at the beginning of the game too, down the sideline.
Yeah, he did.
Putting them in some tough places.
Yeah, Eckert's got a lot of talent. I mean, he could really take this team to all new heights, just like Stollard did. I mean, that's the good thing about this team is there's not a big fall off from 1 and 2 at quarterback.
Yeah, hopefully Stollard will be back soon.
Absolutely. Right.
So next up, Demetrius Wright met earlier this week with UCO defensive lineman Adrian Mack. Here's his interview.
All right, welcome to the Huddle. I'm Demetrius Wright. I got a special guest with me today, Adrian Mack.
How you doing?
How you doing, Mack? You doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up?
I am from Waycross, Georgia, which
what Waycross, Georgia, or
Yes.
does that mean Georgia across Georgia, or the city is called Waycross, Georgia?
It's called Waycross.
Okay.
It throws people off a little bit, but Waycross, born and raised, 18 years of my life till now.
And then you, as a freshman, you came straight to here?
As a freshman, I started out at Troy State University. Many people do not know that. I didn't qualify academically, so I went to Hutchinson Community College, did a year there, redshirted my second year, and UCO found me in the spring of 2013.
Okay. And now have you started?
No. We have a new system in this year. We have more depth on the D-line as compared to the other years. It's been 6 defensive linemen and no backups, but it's a pretty good system. Our coaches just call it doing our 111. You know, 3 plays in, rotate out as hard as you can go, and the next man rolls. Pretty much everybody starts.
What's your position and how does it work?
I play defensive end. I am one of the main guys on the edge of the defensive line. It's my job to keep contained. It's my job to let the inside interior guys know and the backside end know which way we're stunned at all times.
This season compared to last season, how was it? The first 3 games last season were different than the first 3 games this season. How was it different for you?
Very different, definitely. It's just more intensity, more fun. Like, we want to be there. Last year, there were days we would come to practice and, you know, when you get to a 2-8 season, you just drag, you're just ready for it to be over. This year is like one of the first seasons I'm just ready to go to practice every day. I'm ready to go hit somebody. I'm ready to go put my nose on the football and just make something happen.
Do you see yourself as one of the leaders on the team, or does the team lead each other?
I wouldn't necessarily say I see myself as one of the leaders. I just try to lead by example, and I just keep my mouth shut and do whatever I'm told to do.
Okay, you're coming off an injury because you had the hurt shoulder.
Yes.
How is your injury?
It is well. I've done multiple rehab sessions during the summer, on and off. I have been rehabbing every day for the last month and a half in the training room between classes as much time as I can.
Good, good. So there's no effects of it and everything healed good?
Yep, everything's healed. We still wear extra padding just in case. It gets a little sore and stiff every once in a while, but it's just the perks of it.
That's all for our special interview with Adrian Mack. I'm Demetrius Wright, and you're watching The Huddle.
By Demetrius there. It's really cool of Adrian Mack to come in and do that.
Yeah, it was really special. We got him in a nice intimate setting and got a great interview out of him, and it was really special to talk to one of the leaders on the defense. I'm excited for next week, though. We're going to have another edition with Ned Baum, the punter.
Yeah,
Yes,
can't
we are.
wait.
I played on the same team with Adrian Mack, and with that interview, I actually learned a few more things about him, so that was really nice of
That
Dee
was
to do.
really cool. So we got to go to commercial. Be sure to come back as we make predictions for next week.
Up next on The Huddle, we have Literally Speaking, Dylan's Dimes, Hit Sticks, and a special interview with UCO defensive end Adrian Mack.
But I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Acceptable? Yes. Now there are more items you can place in your Edmund recycling bin, like newspapers, magazines, phone books, and junk mail. Edmund Recycles. It's what we do. Changing your view is what we want to do.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Literally Speaking, where I give my choices for the best performances from this past week of football. This week was tough because there was many great performances on both sides of the ball, so it was hard to choose just one. I decided to go a different route this week with my Defensive Player of the Week. I am commending the UCO defense for their tough performance against the Bearcats of Northwest Missouri. The stats don't really show how well those guys played. They were on the field for 94 plays, and they just got worn out in the end in the loss to the #1 team in the country. Malcolm Howard helped lead the defense with 12 tackles and an interception. Those guys played their hearts out. My Offensive Player of the Week goes to Edmond Memorial running back Warren Wand, who accounted for nearly 300 yards of offense and helped the Bulldogs pull away late in the fourth quarter. As you can see, Warren Wand carried the ball 26 times for 183 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also showed he could catch the ball out of the backfield with 5 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Wand was not afraid to give his teammates credit for helping with his performance.
Our offensive line did great tonight, and we just got to keep it up for the rest of the year.
Sounds like a great kid who played a great game. An honorable mention goes to Edmond Santa Fe's running back, Darren Williams, who rushed for 295 yards in the game himself. Wow. That is it for this week's edition of Literally Speaking.
Well, guys, we got a big list of games coming up next week. We got UCO at Nebraska-Kearney. We got Westmore traveling here to Wantland to play Santa Fe. Plus, we have North at Moore and Memorial going to UConn all on Friday night. So we've got a big list coming up this week.
Well, for my predictions for this week, guys, I know I've been kind of slipping up a little bit, but I'm going to go UCO bouncing back, beating Nebraska-Kearney. I'm going to go Edmond Memorial over UConn, and I'm going to take Westmore to go ahead and beat Santa Fe, and Moore High School to beat Edmond North. Edmond North struggling. I don't think they're going to be able to bounce back that quick.
Yeah, my picks are pretty much the same as his. I've kind of been on a hot streak lately. I gotta brag about myself.
They rub it in, why don't you, huh?
Yeah, but I picked the same teams as you did, so really no point.
That and I think we were all on the same wavelength. I had the exact same picks that you guys did. I just think that Westmore looks too impressive for Santa Fe to overcome, and I gave North my last chance last weekend, and they didn't show up. So until they prove me otherwise, I'm going to be picking against them.
I think we all are in agreement on that.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this week's episode of The Huddle. I'm Austin Littrell.
I'm Rick Lemon.
And I'm Dylan Swartz.